Hello, hello, Heal Squad. Welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with my friend and psychic medium, MaryAnn DiMarco. If you missed part 1, go check it out. She gave us some major insights into our spirit guides, how they differ from angels, how to recognize their signs, and most importantly, how you can trust the answers that are already within you. But today, we're going to be unpacking the real work of spirituality, like moving past fear and scarcity, choosing wonder over worry, and releasing the energy that is not serving you. Plus, MaryAnn and I are going to talk about a wild and moving take on why my pets were feeling and healing the same things I was. So, with that, let's welcome back MaryAnn. I think it's hard, like even for me, you're saying how I have this instinct that's been built, this muscle that's been built where I know I can ask and I'll receive the answers. And I'm just going to say it's still hard. For me, it's easier to apply for other people. But when it comes to me, I'll second guess it. And what I love about today is I'm gonna lean back in for myself, and you know, just trust, because it's a gamble, right? I can trust you, or I can trust me. It was like when I wrote my first book, they told me I was writing a bad book. And I was like, well, I'd rather fail on my accord than fail by trusting your version. I ended up on the New York Times bestseller list for, 11 straight weeks. And
Trust.
you have to trust. You have to choose who you're going to trust. And I'd rather choose me. And I think that that's something that nobody ever talks about, like, because we go to our trusted friend, we'll go to a priest, we'll go to all these people. And generally speaking, even with the psychic, you're going to decide which you choose to listen to anyway. You're not going to listen to all of it.
When you heard you were writing a bad book, or someone said that to you, right? The fact that you, and I teach this all the time, if you're getting readings or you're getting advice from somebody, here we go back to how did that feel in your body? You know, did it make you sit back a little bit and say, all right, well, I hear what you're saying, but you didn't feel that. You felt something different, and you allowed that to take the lead instead of somebody else's narrative. That's an incredibly powerful thing to do.
Well, I'm not going to take all the credit for it, because
that's okay. If you were supported by other people,
I did lean back.
That's them.
I leaned back and I was like, oh, well, they're much smarter than me. This is what they do every day. They're the experts. But let me send some chapters to some friends I trust and see what they think. And so I sent it to some people. I said, is this useful to you? Do you find like this is going to be helpful and good and impactful in any way? I got rave reviews. And Kevin looked at me. He's like, Maria, I'm just going to be honest with what he said. They just want you to write a bimbo book about hair and makeup. He's like, and you have so much more you want to give. And so I was like, yeah, that's it.
So if somebody was saying to you without, external people, I'm talking about with your inner self, if you heard, you know what you should do? Send those chapters to other people and listen to, Kevin's going to say something to you talk to him about it as well. That's them. What you're hearing, that idea, is that beautiful prompt that Spirit gives us. And you said yes. When you're sitting with a psychic, a healer, friends, and you don't want to receive what they are saying, it will not sit well in your body. And you can always say to them, I don't receive that. I'm not feeling what you're saying. And allow your guides to take over, because you yourself know your story better than anybody. And so the fact that you took action on that, you just went right into I told you do it instinctually. It's really good at it. So you're good at it.
What are some of the tools people can use so that they can develop this relationship?
I'm going to dial it back just to start very simple. Let's just first start with a really strong belief system, whatever that looks like for you. Let's attach ourselves to the idea that not only is there a higher power, but that we are part of that light, that the light is not separate from us, that we are actually part of whatever is going on in the grand scheme of things in the universe, right? That we're players in all of this. And that we have a divine right to be part of it for ourselves. And if you can get there, that's going to start with that trust. You have to kind of start to establish that you yourself are part of this. It's very important. The second part of it would be, let's develop some really strong tools that resonate with you most. If it's meditation, if it's writing, if it's walking every day and having conversation with your guides, if it's working on your clairs, the clairaudience, the claircognizance, doing exercises. I teach about how to do all of these things in the book, and in Medium Mentor, actually teach a lot about that too. Can we get to a point where you're using consistent tools to help develop this muscle and lean into, again, spaces of trust always? And then can we then create a very consistent spiritual practice? So it's really good, positive 3 steps. It's like really good belief system supported by tools, and then create a practice that you're doing consistently and realistically to go with your life. Not something that looks like somebody else's practice, but something that's your own. And start there. And then you just say to Spirit, dear Spirit, give me the words to serve myself and others for the greater good of the most highest good of all concerned. And I'm willing to see, I'm ready to see the breadcrumbs, show me, and I will say yes. I always say that. Well, I always tell the story too about how we met. I was out and I was speaking to Spirit out loud, and I was saying, please bring me women of like mind, bring me women who support other women, allow me to be in a space, ... And I filled it all in, and in walked Maria, who said, come have dinner with me, and here are my friends that are coming. And I did something so unusual. I was like, okay. And I went into the city and I did all these things. And it was because I promised I would say yes. And because you made it so inviting anyway. So that's when you speak it out loud and you set those manifestations, set them and forget them. But the universe is listening. They will give you those breadcrumbs. They will send you the people, and then say yes. They'll send you the opportunity, walk through the door. Do all the things that they're showing you, and trust divine timing, of course.
I like that, because one of the things that I relearned and started reapplying after the last Dr. Joe Dispenza event I went to was, this whole concept that there's a field around us. Mm-hmm. And at the time I was filling my field. Gabby's in the engineer booth right now nodding because she was with me. Mm-hmm. I was filling my field with all the worst case scenarios, the worst possible outcomes, the most negative feelings and thoughts. I was in a bad place, and I could only see the worst. And when he reminded me that we are the creators of our lives, I was like, well, if I'm the creator of my life, that's not what I want. So I drew a diagram of what it was, and then next to it, what I wanted to be. And I said, well, why couldn't there be potential for this to be different? Why couldn't this actually turn out to be a good thing? Why couldn't? And I started creating what I wanted rather than what I didn't want. And what you were doing is an example of that too. Like, God, please bring me like-minded people. And I think that all of us are really yearning for like-minded people. I think it's so hard. I was at dinner last night, and we were just talking about when you outgrow friendships because they just stayed here. There's no elevated conversation. There's no real true intimacy and connection. And so, you end up, I'm like, how many times can I hear the makeout sessions? Like, can we talk about something as well that might be substantive, that could be, like soul enriching? I don't know. It's always just the party and the this and the that. And it's like people that you've had long standing relationships with, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. But all you have to do is ask.
You do. You have to ask. And because part of that, and I think what we're talking about, is creating stronger and more aligned timelines in your life. And we have the power to shift our energy, shift the way we talk about ourselves, shift the perspective of the life that we are living in the moment, and say, I'm feeling called to have this be changed up. I'm feeling called to feel it in a more authentic way. When we start to speak about it out loud, we start to shift that energy and create a new storyline for ourselves, a more true storyline. And it's pretty fascinating to do, actually. It's one of the most miraculous things that I've started doing in the last 4 or 5 years, is really speaking about my life with a much clearer and healthier intention. And when I'm not doing that, because of course I don't all the time, I want to understand why. I want to understand what's coming up for me that I am doing that. Why am I doing that? And that's what led me to the competitive side of myself. It's led me to feeling imposter syndrome. It's led me to fear and doubt and all these things that I was kind of skirting around. Really wasn't addressing in a very healthy way. It was allowing it to affect me, which was impeding my growth in many areas of my life. It was like Spirit was like, look, we see what you want, but you have to deal with this first.
But wait, I want to understand this because it sounds like you were just in like a negative frequency or a negative vibration and you were just...
I would visit there like anybody else, sure.
Okay, but you're saying that there was a reason you were there. It's not like there was a cause and effect. It sounds like it's a little deeper.
I feel like we sign up for different life lessons when we come here. How those life lessons come into fruition, I think, is at the good grace of the universe. I don't know that we sign up for the experiences. I'm sure there's people who disagree with me in my world, but to me, that's how I see it. And when I realized that these patterns of behavior and responses that I was having were no longer serving me, and I was getting annoyed at my own story, I was bothering me, that these were soul contracts that I came here to work on. And when I shifted my perspective and I understood more deeply about energy and that the accountability is on me and how I think and how I see things, I was able to finally address these issues in a much more productive way.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, competitiveness was a big one for me. I was a competitive kid. I played sports. I used to like to, win in sports. And when I started to do this work and put out my work into the world, I realized that competitive behavior was not serving me in any way, shape, or form. And what it was doing was bringing me to deep spaces of comparison. And then that comparison was leading to imposter syndrome and low self-esteem and all these things. I had to figure out, where did that start? When did I start comparing myself? It took me all the way to like the first grade.
Like you were comparing yourself like in your profession?
In my profession, yep, to other spiritualists, other people in my field. Not even really even in my field. It got into my head in a different type of way. And I've done this before in other areas. I used to work sales when I was younger, and it was a competitive environment. And in that case, it served me better. That it suited it there. But this is my own individual work. It really has nothing to do with anybody else. Yeah. And so I started to realize that I was having very lovely conversations with people in my field who were supportive and wanted to collaborate. And even so, as soon as I started to shift, everyone around, people that were coming to me were shifting. It's pretty miraculous, I have to say. It's probably some of the most beautiful work that I've done with my guides, aside from what I do for other people. This was really cool. Wow. And I started to see this great method and way of working with them that was releasing so much old stuff for me. And I've been closing some really great contracts. It's been interesting and liberating all at the same time.
Well, I think what happened was kind of simple. You grew up being a competitor and then you weren't able to apply it in this arena.
That's right. It had no space here. And what it was doing, and it had done these types of things to me when I was younger, for sure. I just, blew it off or just ignored it. But here, in this particular case, my guides were like, you're not going to get away with it here. You have to deal with this.
Yeah.
And because even in my personal life, I was finding myself, even in younger years, I was pretty competitive. It just didn't serve me well. And so once I figured out how to understand where it came from and why it started and all of these things, I was able to finally say, all right, I can release that now.
Was there someone in your life you needed the gold star from?
Well, no, but I'll tell you what happened. Yes, I mean, you're always seeking validation. I was seeking validation from others, which was part of the problem.
We all
are. I did it. Yeah, and I'll tell you what happened. Part of the healing process, I did a meditation, and I walked out onto. They showed me this, and I walked out onto. They had me walk out onto a big stage. My husband was off stage, just kind of smiling at me. Right. And it was a big theater. And I was ready to kind of give a talk or whatever it was that I was there to do. And there was one person in the audience. And I was still smiling and very happy. And this one person stood up and slowly clapped and applauded, very happy. And I felt really good. And the one person in the audience was me. And I needed the validation from myself. I needed myself to say, it's enough. Just go do your job is what my guides say. So
Wow.
I started to just focus on just go do my job. It's okay. And that's
And
what I've been
released
working ever
it.
since. Oh my gosh, it released it big time. I'm
Wow.
in a wonderful place. It's been like the past 5 years or so, and I'm just in such a better place. It doesn't mean that it doesn't come up too. Of course it's going to come up. It's part of who I am. I just answer it differently. I just answer it with a lot more love and a lot more kindness. And I've always done this where it's never been about anybody else. So anybody in my field, I wish them well. And I'm always putting good energy out. That's never been a problem. It's just something that's been within me. And I had to really get to work with my guides. I talk about that in the book a lot.
Wow. I love that. You talk in the book, you actually share a little bit about my story in here and choosing wonder over worry.
Love that.
Yeah. So we had someone on the show who wrote a book. Actually, guys, will you look it up? What is the name of that book? I think it is Choose Wonder Over Worry. I forget the author. I want to credit her. And then I had my hypnotherapist on the show who had said it. And sometimes you don't hear it from one person. It connects with the other person.
Of course. Yep.
And so, but anyway, that was a really great tool that helped me. And I think that whole kind of feel thing is really the same thing. Like, let's wonder rather than worry. Worrying is putting you in this very stressed state where you can't make good decisions. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to vibrate high, which you're not going to attract good things. It's just a cycle of shit. Is it something that you have used as well?
Oh, I heard you say it in a quick clip. And it was at a time where I really needed to hear it. And I thought, wow, that's very powerful. Of course, it was coming from somebody that I completely trust and, love. So I was like, yep, that's meant for me. And I don't know if you had said this part too, but it was worrying is worshiping your problems. And I started to hear that as well. I'm not sure where.
I love that. I didn't say that, but I love that.
I don't know who said it. I wish I can remember where I heard it from, but it was something that came into my arena of thought. And it was incredibly helpful because it was a reminder to me that where we put our energy will grow.
Yep.
And if I decide to put my energy and place it all in worry, the worries will grow. And it shifted me out of that. And I started to look at end result in a more positive way, where I am in the now, which is very important. I always bring myself back to this moment. And I just started to give gratitude for what was going right in my life and all of those things. It doesn't mean I didn't have anything to worry about. It's just that I didn't allow that to be the main focus and my part of my attention.
Yes. It can't be the main focus.
No.
It's like you get 1,000 good comments and the one comment that's bad takes your attention.
We do that to ourselves. It's sort of, there's things I say on repeat, which is, not everybody is going to love what I do. Not everybody is going to, but there are people out there that I'm hoping it does resonate with. And that's okay too. None of it defines my worth. Am I happy doing what I'm doing? Are you pleased with how you're putting things out into the world? Are you giving kindness? Are you being supportive of others? Are you being really true to yourself? And at the end of the day, I truly feel that I am. And a lot of that has come to through this work and how I choose to experience it.
So you also write that life's challenges are really a map and that struggles aren't setbacks, but they're opportunities to alchemize into spiritual gold. How can we start viewing our biggest challenges, whether it's grief or health, whatever that's going on, as these vital lessons for our soul's growth?
Again, very personal choice. And because some people are so deep in grief that I would never tell them, just turn it into gold, right? I think what I would say is, can you find a pinpoint of light that can help you coexist with that grief in this moment? Is there something that you can grasp onto? Can you speak the words, I need help right now, to start to change up? Can we recognize that the energy is not serving you in any way, shape, or form good, from something that feels really light or something that can feel really heavy? Can we all get to a moment that allows us to shift in whatever capacity we can manage in that moment. And I think when we do that, we start to change the trajectory of that energy. We start to see things a little differently, and we open ourselves up to possibilities that we thought maybe weren't happening for us because we couldn't see through that fog, through those clouds, through that heaviness. We also have to be very forgiving of ourselves that it's okay to experience these things. And it's okay to say, hey, my day is really shitty, or my life kind of sucks right now, or whatever it is. But I'm willing to see something different for myself. I'm willing to see how this can shift and change for me. And I know that sometimes that's really very hard for people. And so just be kind to yourself and do the best that you can to shift that up.
Yeah, shifting is great. I think I've perhaps been too good at shifting and not feeling enough. And so I'm trying to allow the feelings to coexist with the shifting and like, okay, I'm not going to let this rule my whole day or my whole year, but I have to feel through it.
Are you annoying yourself, Maria? Like it's like when things go on repeat and I'm tired of my own story. This is the best way to recognize, because I'm a lot like that too. And I have to remind myself that if I'm starting to get aggravated, that's my cue. If I'm bothering me, then that's my cue. Or if I keep answering the same way and I say to myself, I hear myself say, why do I keep doing this? That I have to do something about it in order to change it up.
Yeah. I do think that these patterns are so powerful. They're really there to be loud and friggin' clear. And I think one of the patterns that I've realized recently, because I always love working with people, I love teams, I love sharing, is some of it can come from the idea that I can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
And I think that, of course, we need people, of course, but I am starting to realize that the pattern is telling me, bitch, you can do this. You don't need anybody. Because Kevin's been telling me this for 30 years. You keep thinking you need people. You don't need anybody. You can do it yourself. And I'm like, okay, I hear it loud and clear now. I get it. I get it.
Are you saying yes?
I am. Yeah. 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 You know why, MaryAnn? Because I don't want to deal with the heartache that I get every time I try to do it with someone else. I just keep getting betrayed and brokenhearted left and right. I'm like, well, okay, nobody wants to play nice. Like, fuck it. I'm just going to do it by myself now.
So how many times do you have to see that for them to say, look, Maria, this isn't working. And you know that it's not working. So yeah, they're happy to continue to show us, when we have our blinders on and we just don't want to hear that. I'm pretty stubborn, so believe me, they love to put it on a repeat for me.
Okay, so one other thing I was thinking of that I wanted to ask you about, and I forget how it came up with Patty and the squad here, was I think it was based on the moment that I had on the show where I channeled the pancreas thing. I was like, wait a second, my dog had a pancreas issue. Oh shit, my other 2 dogs had brain tumors. Isn't that interesting that my animals have mirrored my family's health issues? And I wonder what you think about that. What do you think about our animals?
Pretty fascinating, actually. I'd have to really sit and wonder about that. I mean, it could be something about collective energy, depending on the series of events. Who got it first?
Well, I only recognized the brain tumors in my 2 dogs after we got brain tumors.
Yeah. So, I wonder, my theory would be, it's just a working theory, right? My theory would be, I wonder if your dogs are so empathetic
that they took it on. That was my first gut. My gut was that they were there to help soak it up for us.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would think.
Yeah.
And you yourself I remember we talked about healing and you healing others energetically. And I remember saying to you, I don't want you to do it from you. I want it, I don't want you to take it from them,
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see that being reflected through your dogs too. It's like the spirit's like, you see how energy works here? You want to be real careful, because the dogs are kind of like, heal. We all want us to be well. That's fascinating.
Well, and then my poodle Winnie I would watch her just, she was so jumpy. Like if she heard a noise, it was like a bomb went off. And that's how I've been my whole life. I would literally see myself in my animals. All of them. All of them were different versions of me. It was so bananas to see. And I had so much more empathy for myself, which is probably why she came, because I would just see this poor dog just have such anxiety and such trauma. And I was like, oh.
Well, it's like they're showing you, you can heal her. Can you heal you? Right? You can do that too. You know, you're
love
always
yourself like you love
that's
them.
right. That's right. And you know, there's something about pets too. I mean, there's unconditional love. They're so trusting. I mean, they're here to teach us so much. I miss my dog so much. And I feel like he taught me so many things about just trust, surrendering over, and just loving something so much. I mean, my children have taught me that too, but they talk back. So he didn't even talk back in any of it. You know, it's pets are fascinating. That's really fascinating.
Yeah. I had two other moments. One where I was having a meltdown and I channeled my poodle who's on the other side. I was like, Winnie, I need your help. We need to go to our grateful list, because we used to do our grateful list together in the mornings. I'd be like, all right, Winnie, it's time for our grateful list. And she'd come over and we would go through our grateful list in like a funny, cute way. And that helped me. But well, I don't need to tell that story. Anyway, long story short, my animals, they were amazing. MaryAnn, I could talk to you for hours about all of this, but I think that we have shared some really important stuff for people to start to understand what these breadcrumbs look like, what this feels like, how to start applying it. But also, I think the biggest thing is learning that it's all within us. Everything we need is already in us. It's Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She always had the power to click those heels. That's why, again, no coincidence, it's always been my favorite movie of all time.
Because you know how to get home.
Yeah.
It's right there. The power is within us, every single one of us. And, you know, like I said, with this book and everything that I teach, that's really always the biggest underlying message that I hear through my work and my guides is just tell them they can do this. And so I hope that's what's received through this book.
I love it. And I love you. And guys, the book is called The Guides Book. We will put a link in the description. And MaryAnn, I can't wait to see you in person. A special thank you to MaryAnn for joining us in the Heal Squad today. Friends, if you love these episodes, please share them with friends who might need them or love them. We also have more info on MaryAnn and details on where you can get her incredible book, The Guides Book, Mapping Out Life's Journey with Spirit by Your Side. It is out now, and the link is in the description below. In the meantime, be nice people, make good choices, and be present. Hey, Heal Squad. We have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.